Right. Good evening and welcome to this. Oh, is it on? Yep, it's on. Okay. Good evening and welcome to this meeting of the new and old Malden Neighbourhood Committee, whether here in person or watching on the webcast. My name is Councillor Lynn Henderson and I am chairing this meeting this evening. Councillor Pete will be joining us a little bit later this evening. In the event of an emergency and the sounding of an alarm, the emergency evacuation procedure is to leave by the fire exits and congregate at the front of the building near the car park. Anyone requiring assistance should remain in their seats and an officer will assist you from the building. And we go this way through that door, Alice. Yes? Okay. This meeting is being filmed for live broadcast on the Council's YouTube channel and an archive version will be available to view on the Council's website after the meeting finishes. The broadcast will be suspended during any adjournments and proceedings and if the committee resolves to consider information as exempt business. Please can everyone present in the meeting ensure that their mobile phones are switched off or in silent mode for the duration of this meeting. Right, who's who? Can we all just go around the table and introduce ourselves, please? Thank you.
Working, is it? It's Andrew Sillick-Coomvale.
Hello, Councillor Andrew Bolton, also Coomvale.
Hello, Councillor Yvonne Tracy, Green Lane and St James.
Councillor James Giles, Green Lane and St James Ward.
Councillor Lynn Henderson, Motspur Park and Old Malden East Ward.
Councillor Richard Thorpe, Motspur Park and Old Malden East.
Evening, Councillor Mark Durrant from New Malden Village Ward.
Hello, Councillor Robert Kim from New Malden Village as well. Yep.
Good evening, Councillor Massimi from Old Malden.
Good evening, it's Councillor Elizabeth Park from Old Malden.
Thank you. And we also have a number of officers in attendance this evening to give an overview of the report and advice during the meeting. We have Yunus Hamadi at our end, Sustainable Transport. Welcome, Yunus. Tim Naylor, Director of Planning and Regeneration, Ralph Hyde, Neighbourhood Manager, and Alice Aubrey, Democratic Services. Evening. Do we have any questions from members of the public this evening?
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do. So would you like to come forward? Terry, are you going to give your question? Thank you. And you know how it works. And how many minutes does it give? No. Okay. Right, off you go.
Okay, thank you, Chair. Can I first thank the officers and you, Chair, for hearing my question again. I understand our officers do their best with whatever resources they are given. I'm, of course, asking for an update regarding the very dangerous parking situation at Malden Road Junction with Edmonstone Road. Can I ask what exactly our Motspur Park and Old Malden councillors have done to help with this issue? Your residents are exasperated. Your residents have been asking for action for over a year. I got involved in this in March. Apart from the help that's been given by the officers to increase the parking restrictions and enforcement, nothing appears to be done. We've had situations of fights happening at the scene. We had a lady who was here at our last meeting whose buggy was crushed. Is it going to take something very, very serious before something gets done here? Thank you.
Thank you, Terry. Eunice, yes, please, can you take us through where we are at the moment? Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Further to the committee resolution at the last committee where they approved the changes to the disabled bay and to the loading bay and to provide more parking. The publication of the traffic management order has been published and I'm very pleased to say we haven't received any objection. So therefore now we're passing the work to the contractors in order to get a date when they will be starting working on the ground. So we anticipate sometime in January they will be working on the ground and making the order formally. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Eunice. Do you have a supplementary question, Terry?
No, I don't. Thank you very much, Eunice. Thank you, Ralph, for all your help in this situation. I wish we had more help, but thank you two very much.
Thank you, Terry. Petitions. We have received no new petitions. Okay, thank you. Apologies. Are there any apologies, Alice?
Yes, thank you, Chair. We've received apologies from Councillor Camilla Coogan.
Okay, thank you. Declarations of interest. Members are asked to declare any disclosable pecuniary interest or any other registrable or non-registrable interest relevant to items on this agenda. Do members have any declarations of interest? Could you please indicate now? None, thank you. The minutes. Do members agree the minutes of the meeting held on 7th of October 2025 is a true and correct record, subject to the amendments outlined by Councillors Bolton and Giles? Can we agree those minutes? Agree. Yep, okay. Okay, agenda item 6. We now have a petition on Save New Malden's Fitness for Less Pure Gym swimming pool. Agenda item 6 is a petition on Save New Malden's Fitness for Less Pure Gym swimming pool. Members of the committee may refer to Appendix B of the agenda pack. The Council received a petition regarding this matter at Council on the 14th of October 2025. Now, councillors, you're reminded that the debate tonight is on the content of the petition, not on any potential or active planning applications. Any debate on planning applications is reserved for the relevant planning committee when that item is being considered. Any discussion on specific planning applications is a separate issue, and any application must be judged on its own merits based on material planning considerations, and members must avoid the appearance of bias or predetermination. Is everyone happy with that? Everyone understood that? Okay. As the petition has 393 valid signatures, under the petition scheme it is brought to this committee for consideration. The petition organiser will be given 5 minutes to present the petition at the meeting, and the petition may then be discussed by councillors for a maximum of 30 minutes. We have Tim Naylor, Director of Planning and Regeneration, with us this evening to answer any questions if needed. I now invite the organiser of the petition, Councillor Giles, to present the petition for up to 5 minutes. And Alice, will you let me know when there's 1 minute leaving? Okay, over to you, Councillor Giles.
Thank you, Chair. I won't take the entire 5 minutes. I'll be relatively brief. As most councillors on the committee will be aware, the Fitness for Less gym closed earlier this year and is being acquired by Pure Gym, who currently operate gyms across the country, including in the town centre and indeed in Sutton. The site is currently home to one of the very few remaining publicly accessible pools in the borough, and indeed was a haven for users who looked for a quieter space to swim following the demolition of the Kingfisher Leisure Centre by the council. Pure Gym themselves don't operate swimming pools, and so they don't intend on taking up the pool. They claim this means they can offer a cheaper membership to users of the gym. Ultimately, although there's a rather complex leasing structure, it is my understanding that the site as a whole is owned in terms of the freehold by the local authority, by the council. And so the petition calls on the council and indeed Pure Gym to ensure the pool remains open and that Kingston Borough and its residents don't lose yet another vital swimming pool. Now, to elaborate slightly further on that, obviously there is a change of use application, which, as you say, Chair, will be considered by Planning Committee in due course, which I've also called in to be determined by members. And so what the petition is seeking is for the council, and indeed by extension members here this evening, to make clear that our preference is for that pool to remain a pool and not become extra storage space for Lidl, whether that's writing to the leaseholder to make clear our view, or indeed asking the council as the freeholder, as a statutory consultee, in any prospective application that may come forward, to use its power as the freeholder to object to any such change of use. There are a number of providers that have already come forward saying they would be more than willing to take on just the swimming pool, some of whom are community enterprises. And my understanding is so far those discussions have fallen flat on the basis that Lidl would like the space for extra storage. I hope we can all agree here this evening that as lovely as it would be for Lidl to have extra storage, our priority must be getting people swimming and indeed keeping people swimming. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, Alice, have we got any questions from the public?
No.
No, we haven't. Okay, so we now move to discussions amongst councillors, and obviously any questions you might have for Tim. But just before we start, I'm going to remind you, councillors again are reminded that the debate tonight is on the content of the petition, not on any potential active planning applications. Any debate on planning applications is reserved for the relevant planning committee when that item is being considered. Would members of the committee who wish to speak please raise their hands now? So, yep, Okay, so Councillor Durrant, do you want to kick off, please?
Thank you, Chair. I must say I was somewhat bemused and slightly surprised to see this coming forward before this committee. Ultimately, Pure Gym are a private organisation and they have to make commercial decisions, but based on what they think is going to fly in the community, what's going to work in the community. I may, for example, quite like an aisle in the middle of Lidl, but we cannot mandate that we have that particular thing within Lidl. That is again down to Lidl to decide what they think is going to work for them commercially. So I'm really surprised to sort of see that come forward this evening as well. As I say, there are a lot of things that maybe we want commercial enterprises to do, but ultimately it is down to them as commercial enterprises to decide what is going to make a sustainable future for them financially.
Thank you, Councillor Durrant. Councillor Sillett.
Can you hear me now? Yeah, thank you. A couple of probably dumb questions. So the council owns the freehold, but it's a private company. So we can't really, I mean, we can express a wish, but then I'm worried about we're showing predisposition with an ongoing planning application. So I'm just a bit confused by this. So if, for example, I would said, yes, it would be lovely to have keep the swimming pool there. One, is that expressing predisposition? That would mean I couldn't sit on a planning board. And two, do we have any kind of power as a council to alter, to influence a private company about what they do with their premises? So they're my two questions.
Tim, would you be able to guide us on that, please? Thank you.
Well, from my understanding, the council is responsible for providing leisure facilities for the residents, but that's public sector accessible. We don't have any influence over the private sector provision. And in a planning context, as the report states, we will look at it in terms of the material considerations that are put before us. But the current application has no proposal at the moment to remove the swimming pool, so we have to take it at face value and assess it on that basis.
Thank you, Tim. Any more comments? Yes, by all means.
So the current application isn't planning to remove the swimming pool?
Well, as the report states, it says there's a live application being assessed by officers. I beg your pardon. There's a live application.
Can you move forward a bit?
Sorry. There's a live application currently being assessed by officers. The submission does not include reference to the removal of a swimming pool, and no existing and proposed floor plans have been submitted by the applicant. So it's early days, and we don't know, what may be subsequently submitted. If it were to be proposed in terms of removing the pool, then it would be considered as part of the assessment in the context of planning policy that our local development plan. So, yeah, that's where we are at the moment. That's not to say that there might be proposals that come in subsequently which will confirm that.
May I just ask one more supplementary, Chair? So would anything that we expressed as councillors about our wish for what should be happening count as predetermination, or would it affect our this planning application?
Well, if you were on a planning committee and therefore be required to make a decision, then if you were stating now that you had an objection to it, then yes, you'd be predetermined.
Councillor Giles?
Thanks. I mean, look, to come back on some of the points that have been raised, in terms of the timing, there's been some additional documents submitted to that planning application, including the floor plans, since this petition was submitted, and indeed probably since the report was written, which is why when I presented the petition, I did say any future application that may come forward. We know from Pure Gym's head office they don't intend themselves on taking on the pool, and so there is then an option for the operational landlord as to what to do with the space. We know they've had discussions with Lidl. What this petition is asking the council to do, and indeed, although they don't operate it themselves, Pure Gym, is make quite clear to the operational landlord that our preference is we want to keep people swimming in New Malden, we want to preserve a pool there, and indeed, you know, if it's to be another operator that takes it on, so be it. But that's the request on this petition. I hope that answers some of the queries that have arisen so far.
Councillor Thorpe.
I'm sorry, that this is an exercise in futility. Councillor Giles has described a number of things he knows, and he has some other people whom he knows. I don't know any of those things. I can't make any comments at all on this proposal. I'd prefer not to discuss it any further until we have more information.
Thank you, Councillor Thorpe. Any more comments or questions for Tim? I did say to Tim we'll have him out of here by 8 o'clock. Councillor Giles.
If that is indeed Councillor Thorpe's view, one of the things that we can do under the petition scheme is look to defer this to a future meeting for further discussion. So if the feeling is that there isn't yet enough information that's been formally tabled, I'd be quite happy to share the written correspondence that I've had with indeed Pure Gym's head office and indeed Lidl, if indeed Councillor Thorpe doesn't feel able to say he wants to keep that swimming pool in New Malden without seeing the evidence of it.
I think tonight... Oh, Councillor Thorpe.
When I say something, I mean it. There's no if involved in this at all.
I didn't understand the response there, Chair.
Fine. So, we are being asked tonight to note the report. As a committee...
On the petition, sorry.
Yeah, to note, yes. Happy to note the report and the petition. Are we happy to note the petition having come into the committee? Are we happy to note the report provided to the committee?
I'd actually like to propose, Chair, under petition scheme 4G, that we take the action requested and write to the operational landlord expressing our preference the space remains a publicly accessible swimming pool. And I'm sure Councillor Tracy will second that.
Right, so we're going to go to a vote on that. The proposal is that we write to Pure Gym, are we talking about?
We're talking about the operational landlord, of which
The
the
operational
council have
landlord,
detail.
and ask them to retain the swimming pool. So we're going to take a vote on that. So all those in favour of that, could you raise your hand, please? All those against? 1, 2, 3, 4.
Sorry, just keep your hands up for a moment.
Okay.
And just write it down.
Okay, and those abstaining? So that's been voted down. So now I'm going to go back and ask the committee, are we happy to note the petition coming in tonight and the content of the report? As a committee, are we? Is that unanimous? We want to go to a vote? Okay. So those... we just go straight to vote?
Yeah.
Okay, so those in favour of noting the petition and noting the content of the report, could you please raise your hand now? Okay. All right, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Yeah.
And those against or not for it? 0. Those abstaining? Tim, I did say 8 o'clock, 10 minutes early. Tim, you're very, very welcome to stay and listen to the following meeting, but I suspect you've got better things to do.
Quite happy to get back to the other side of London.
Absolutely. And thanks again, Tim. Really appreciate you coming along. Thank you. Okay. Okay. So the next petition, so it's agenda item 7 now, petition on Save the Springfield Disabled Resource Centre, HFT, in New Malden. Agenda item 7 is a petition on the Springfield Disabled Resource Centre. Members of the committee may refer to Appendix C of the agenda pack. The council received the petition at full council on 10th of October 2025. Oh, sorry, that's 14th of October 2025. We had the council meeting. Members are to note the late material update, which explains... Right, has everyone seen the late material, first of all? No? Have you got it? No?
There's some spares on the public table.
Okay, do you want to go and look at the spares? And I'll tell you what it says, Mike, while you're reading it. Everyone else seen it? Yes, everyone? It's been in the public domain since these papers, well, since it was published, right. So, members are to note the late material update, which explains that on the 1st of December 2025, the Council was informed by HFT that they had now exchanged contracts with the purchaser of the Springfield Resource Centre. This includes exchanging on the 10-year lease agreement with the estimated date of completion as mid-January 2025. In line with this, the Council will continue to work on supporting the delivery of provision from the centre. So everyone understands what the late material is saying, that there is a contract that's been signed. As the petition has 379 valid signatures, under the petition scheme, it is brought to this committee for consideration. The petition organiser will be given 5 minutes to present the petition at the meeting, and the petition may then be discussed by councillors for a maximum of 30 minutes. I now invite the organiser of the petition, Councillor Giles, to present the petition for up to 5 minutes. Alice, will you let me know when the 1 minute's left? Okay, over to you, Councillor Giles.
Lovely, thank you, Chair. Well, look, this is some good news for the committee. Obviously, this petition was set up in response to the news that HFT were going to close down the Springfield Resource Centre, which has been a lifeline for the learning disability community in New Malden since the Cox Crescent and Causeway Resource Centres were closed back in 2010-2011. So the community came together to put this petition together to send a message loud and clear to HFT that we weren't going anywhere without a fight. The Springfield Resource Centre itself does actually generate an operational surplus. The reason HFT were looking to close the site is because they had a national deficit to plug in their budgets. They're a national charity, not a local charity. And indeed, it was a prime plot of land in London, whereas most of their sites are in much more rural areas. And so it became the natural choice for them to look to sell it off. They had originally told the learning disability community they were going to cease operations in October of this year, which caused great distress, great upset, unnecessarily to that community. And indeed, those relations will still take time to properly rebuild. There's still a lot of mistrust now, a lot of upset about the way that was handled. But I'm pleased that the community came together to submit this petition to add pressure. After this petition was launched, HFT then began conversations with a developer who was looking to buy the land, but with a lease back option for 10 years, which means that the site will be able to continue as a day centre for the next 10 years, which I hope we can all agree is really welcome news and really good news, that we can keep this facility in New Malden until 2036. What we have to do, although it may seem a long way off now, and whilst few, if any of us, may be on the council in 10 years' time, we have to make sure that we don't lose sight of the fact this is only a 10-year lease agreement. And so although the site will be leased back, after 10 years, the owner will look to develop the site. And so what we have to start doing is identifying alternative sites, alternative provisions, because the greatest travesty of closing the Cox Crescent and Causeway centres was that no alternative provision had been identified at the time. And that's when HFT really came into its own. And so we've got a long period of breathing space, but that doesn't mean we should take our foot off the pedal. So I'm hoping, as per the recommendation, that we'll all agree to note the petition, which is somewhat now surplus to requirements, if you like, with the outcome that's been secured already. And so I guess only in closing to say, from our perspective as the ward councillors where HFT is, our thanks to Sam Morrison, the Executive Director for Adult Social Care and Health, for working with us on this, and indeed to Councillor Hamid, the portfolio holder for Adult Social Care. It was welcome to be able to work cross-party on this, securing a good outcome for all service users in the area.
Do we have comments from the public, Alice? No? Do any members wish to make a comment about this? No? Are we happy to note the report and the petition? Yes? Okay, super, thank you. Councillor Sillett, you are released. And that really is fantastic that you turned up tonight. Thank you very much. Okay. And you'll know that in a minute. Okay. Okay, so, right, zebra crossings, one of our favourite topics. Okay, next agenda item is Clarence Avenue zebra crossing local consultation results. And I'm going to hand over, it's to consider the results of public consultation on the introduction of a zebra crossing on Clarence Avenue and seek a way forward. Now, I move the recommendations that set out on page D1. Councillor Durham, would you be happy to second me? Of course. Thank you very much. Okay, and I'm going to invite our one of our favourite council officers. Thank you. Eunice.
Still one off, better than none.
Over to you. Always lovely to see you.
Thank you, Chair. The report in front of you is outlining the result of the local consultation on the introduction of a zebra crossing in Clarence Avenue. We have received a lot of requests or complaints about speeding and about lack of crossing in Clarence Avenue. And to find a location to put a zebra crossing, it's a lot of challenge there because there are a lot of crossovers. So we managed to find one, and we sent 189 letters out. Unfortunately, we have 36 back, which about 19%. We would like to have more outcome, but based on that, we have 24 out of the 36 support the scheme, and we have 11 who doesn't support the scheme. If you look into the report, some of the residents, they have, as you know, anything we introduce, it has the pros and the cons. But overall, the report outlined all the information received for residents, outlining the benefit and disbenefit of such a scheme. However, from our perspective, the scheme will add more crossing and encourage more kids to school, and it will play a very important role as well because Clarence Avenue, as you know, is a straight road, and it will help as well to reduce the speed further. So therefore, I'm asking members to resolve the outcome of the consultation be noted, and following the consultation analysis, the scheme in Annex 1 is approved for implementation, and residents will be advised of the committee decision. I'm happy to take any question, Chair.
Thank you, Eunice. Alice, do we have any comments? No comments from the public. So do members wish to ask Eunice questions? Councillor Bolton.
Thank you very much, Chair, and thank you, Eunice, for the report. Of course, I welcome this, and thank you for moving, relatively swiftly to get the work done. I'm, of course, struck by the fact that it's largely to do with safety, and there's a school nearby, so that's excellent that we should be proposing this. Just one question for you, though, Eunice. Are you convinced, with your professional expertise that you and your colleagues have, are you convinced that this is the best location for it? Of course, I know it very well. It seems fine to me, but I'm very heavily going to be dependent on your professional advice as to whether this is actually the best place for it. Thank you.
Thank you. Actually, that's a very interesting question. And as I said earlier to you is, the problem we have in Clarence Avenue, we have a lot of crossovers. So if you have the desired location, but you have a lot of crossovers, you're not going to be able to put a zebra crossing because the resident, they will not be supporting you because you are taking their parking facility away, and you know how much parking is important. So to answer your question, that is the second best, maybe not the first, but it is what it is there. It will do, and it will, people, they will start using it when it is there. I hope that answers your question.
Are there any more questions for Eunice? No? Okay. So we'll now move on to the debate. Do members wish to make comments? Councillor Giles?
Thank you, Chair, and thanks also for this report. I mean, look, it's very welcome. I remember when I was at Coombs Sixth Form at the Clarence Avenue site, the road does suffer from a lack of crossings, and indeed I think the consultation responses show the support for the introduction of the zebra crossing. I just wanted to touch briefly on some of the arguments against. I note some of the objectors proposed chicanes. I can say the chicanes on South Lane, if anything, in my humble anecdotal opinion, actually encourage speeding, where people actually think, oh, it's a chicane, let me speed up and see how quickly I can whiz through them. And so I certainly don't feel chicanes are the answer. I know some people also request speed cameras. I know the police have done a number of community speed watch events on Clarence Avenue, and they always pick up a lot of vehicles speeding. So that's already in hand. And as for congestion, personally, I don't feel Clarence Avenue is a particularly congested street. I can't think of any time where I've actually been stuck in traffic on Clarence Avenue, apart from maybe having to wait behind the odd bus. So I would hope that we can all support this. We certainly will be. It's a welcome improvement to Clarence Avenue that a wide variety of pedestrians, young and old, I'm sure will benefit from. So thank you, Eunice, for bringing it.
Does anyone else have any comments to make about this? Okay, so do we think we can approve this?
Agreed.
I think I've already done it. Yeah, I've done it. I say agreed. All right. Okay, that's unanimous. Thank you very much. Okay, so the next one, Coombe Lane West zebra crossing. Again, to consider the results of a public consultation on the introduction of zebra crossing on Coombe Lane West and seek a way forward. I move the recommendations as set out on page E1. Councillor Thorpe, do you want to second me?
Very happy to second, Councillor.
Okay. And over to you, Eunice, yet again. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. This report is about introducing a new zebra crossing in Coombe Lane West. If you drive along Coombe Lane West, you know we have one zebra crossing outside the school, and we don't have a lot of zebra crossing there. So therefore, we have received a request from some parent who cross the Coombe Lane West in order to provide an alternative or an additional zebra crossing in the area. So, as I said earlier, we have looked and we went into the collision analysis, and we pick up the location where we felt it's a good place to have a zebra crossing. I don't know if we say that before, is Coombe Lane West, despite it's 20 mph, but it's still, some people do tend to go above the 20 mph. So therefore, the present of introducing a zebra crossing will do two jobs. First, we'll introduce people to a crossing facility for parents and for people to go to school. And secondly, it will play an important role in reducing the speed on Coombe Lane West. So we send a consultation letter to 82 residents. We receive 50, which is quite high, which I'm very pleased with that, actually. It's 61% response rate for this consultation is quite high. So based on that, we have 30 out of the 50, they said yes for the zebra crossing, and 18, they said no, and 2 said, I don't know. And as I said previously, this report outlined the pros and the cons and the people who for and against the scheme. But we feel as an officer, the scheme will benefit the area and would benefit the pedestrian and the school in the area. So therefore, I'm asking members to note the report and to approve the scheme as is outlined in the recommendation. I'm happy to take any questions, Chair.
Thank you, Eunice. We don't have any comments from the public, do we? No, we don't. Okay, so members, Councillor Bolton.
Thank you very much, Chair. And again, thank you, Eunice, for the report. Again, of course, it's about road safety, so I'm all for it. And again, my question, really similar to the last one, is about the location. And I note that among the concerns some of the residents have, at least one of the noted concerns here, is that residents with driveways near the proposed site are concerned that the required zigzag markings will create a significant safety hazard due to severely poor visibility of pedestrians when reversing in or out during peak times. And the officer response to that is the final design details will specifically address these concerns. Wonder if you could just elaborate a little bit on that. What can we do to alleviate those concerns, please, Eunice?
Thank you, Chair. Actually, it's an interesting point you raised, because I don't know if all of you know, who you pass your driving test. According to the highway code, you shouldn't reverse from your driveway. You should reverse into your driveway, and you should go out with the first gear. So anyway, so the people, they shouldn't reverse, and that is according to the highway code. But people, drivers, they don't do it, including myself sometimes. But anyway, so it depends at what time I arrive home. But anyway, so I think the point here is, because it is a zigzag, we feel that there is no parking. And because there is no parking, any car is reversing. It's easier to be seen and be seen. So I feel that argument is, it's not strong enough for us to remove it, because from our perspective, if you think the whole of the area is going to be cleared from any parking car, so when you are reversing, the pedestrian who's waiting at the zebra crossing, he's able to see. And the person who's reversing, he's able to see the pedestrian who wants to cross, and he has to wait for them till they cross. But anyway, having said that, we will, as well, as a part of the design details, we do some turning movement to find out if that will be covered, or there is something we need to do to move the crossing a bit further to make sure that drivers have a clear view of that crossing. I hope that answers the question.
Yes, it does. Thank you. And Chair, just to note again that people in favour of this are 60% with 36 against. So there is a clear feeling among people who are asked that the zebra crossing is something they would like. Thank you.
Can I say something? Thank you. I think I want members to be aware this item is at the boundary line between yourself and Kingston. So therefore, this report will be coming again to the Kingston and North Kingston Neighbourhood Committee on the 15th of January as well. So I do hope they follow you and they approve it as well.
Well, presumably, Eunice, it will only go halfway. No, I didn't say that. Any more comments for Eunice or questions? No? Okay. So we've now moved on to the debate. Do we want to make any comments about this? I've blended the two items. I'm doing a blending tonight. Okay. All right. No. All right. So do you think we feel to pass this unanimously and for our bit, for our half? Yes. Okay. All right. So that's unanimous. Brilliant. Thank you. Now.
I'm leaving some.
Yeah. Okay.
The Borough, I don't.
Always.
Ships that pass in the night, Eunice.
Always love to see. Thank you, Eunice.
Thank you.
Yeah, really great. Welcome, Councillor Heap. I just have to ask you, do you have any declarations of interest?
I don't.
Okay, super. Thank you very much. And you're going to do my performance assessment while you... Okay, right.
Fine.
Okay, so now we're moving on to agenda item 10. This may be actually a record. So we're on to neighbourhood grants. We have 3 community grants this evening for consideration. I need to read this out, don't I? And so the first one is to consider an application for a neighbourhood community grant of £1,100 from Kingston Tamil Heritage Group, as set out in paragraphs 6 to 10 of the report. Ralph,
I'm on.
another star turn. Do you want to do your bit, please? Thank you. Okay.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, there's an application for £1,100 from the Kingston Tamil Heritage Group to support the wonderful festival, which is due to take place on the 25th of January next year. So close away. In here, yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, we're warming up the venue. And to give us further information, I've got Dr. Nathan and Tay Taylor.
Okay. Would you like to come forward? And how long is it?
Oh, just...
Okay, fair enough. Okay.
Just Dr. Nathan. Thank you, Dr. Nathan.
Okay. Thank you. All right.
Thank you.
Okay.
Good evening, all councillors. I'm here to request for a grant to celebrate the Tamil Heritage Month, the Harvest Festival, on the 25th of January this year. As you just mentioned, it's going to be held in this hall. And we have 4 organizations. We get together and celebrate this. All 4 are quite prominent Tamil organizations. Well, the first one is Center for Community Development, which is a registered charity and based in Kingston. The next one is Tamil Information Center, then Kingston Tamil School and Surrey Tamil School. So we get together and organize this event jointly. And the event will include a small procession from the gates of this school and come round through the car park. And then after that, there will be a demonstration of Thai Pongal. That's our harvest festival. There'll be a demonstration of Thai Pongal and followed by stage programs, including our traditional music, drumming, and dances. And I'm sure some of you have attended this in the past, and this is the 5th year we are doing. And the people who come here, they really enjoy the colorful events and learn about the Tamil culture and heritage. This gives an opportunity for the local community to know about the Tamil culture, because I believe Tamil is the second most spoken language in Kingston. So there are lots of us here. We would like to integrate with the local community. So this gives them an opportunity to learn about our culture and the heritage. And also it helps the local students and other people to learn about the culture of Tamils. And we have applied for a grant of £1,100. We have also applied for grants to 2 other neighbourhood committees, and our budget is about £5,400. So the rest of the funding will be organised by the group. There will be sponsors, and also the 4 organisations will contribute as well. And all the money will be spent on, one is mainly the hire of this hall and a few other things. But there won't be any administrative cost, and all the work will be done by volunteers on a voluntary basis. So there won't be any expenses involved in that. So we would be grateful if we could, and we have had your grant in the past as well. Thank you. If you have any questions?
Yes. Does anyone have any questions? Councillor Bolton and then Councillor Giles. Anyone else? No?
Sorry, I hope I'm not dominating the microphone too much tonight, but thank you very much for coming in. I think it's a wonderful organisation, and just to hear you talk about the organising of the festival is fantastic, because, of course, I have attended a couple in the past, couldn't make it last year, unfortunately, but for family reasons. But I think it's wonderful, the fact that it includes everybody in the Borough of Kingston and Outwith, actually. It's not just about Tamil people, although obviously that's the key element, but it is inclusive of everyone. So thank you for doing it, and I shall certainly be supporting it. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor
Giles.
Thanks very much. I'll reserve my comments for a later stage of the debate, but I wondered if I could ask possibly of Ralph the number of times that we've had applications from this group for this event.
Chair, I'm aware, personally, this is the second one I've dealt with. I know there are more, but it's only the second one I've dealt with.
I wonder if you might know, how many times have you applied for this grant?
Yeah, we have received the grant more than twice. I think it's 3 times. Yeah.
Okay. Forgive me, sorry. Do you know if we approve this tonight, would this be the 3rd grant or the 4th?
It will be 4th.
It will be 4th. Thank you very much.
Councillor Park and then Councillor Durrant.
Yeah, I'm very much support to this application, because it's only once a year events, and it's truly show our Kingston is how inclusive, and we are living together with a diverse culture in this borough. So also they're like. The budget for this event is huge. They are not asking whole amount of the project, the budget. Some part of they subsidized by themselves, but somehow they want to get help from us to be able to continue their annual events. I'm truly supported this event.
Thank you, Councillor Park. Councillor Durrant and then Councillor Kim.
Just to say, I definitely would like to support this. It brings much brightness, much needed brightness at the dullest end of the dullest month of the year. And so I am delighted to support this as well. Although
it's inside now.
And yes, I was just going to say it's a relief that it will be held in here rather than in the square in the middle of January in the UK. So that's very welcome as well. Thank you.
Councillor Kim.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, I also support the project very much, and I like to know that this year the event will be held this place rather than the cold scare. But I have one question. In the breakdown of the cost, you said you will receive the grant from 3 neighborhood committee, but I noticed there's only New Malden and Surbiton.
Oh, that's an error. I think it's New Malden neighbourhood, Surbiton neighbourhood. The other one is the
Southfield Borough.
South Borough neighbourhood.
Okay,
I
yeah.
think that's
Thank you. That's it. Yeah.
Could I just make a note on that they didn't grant the full amount due to limited funds?
Councillor Giles.
Thank you. Sorry, yes, Councillor Kim's reminded me, I did just have one question on the breakdown. It specifies within here £400 for IBC TV and radio. Now, I understand IBC Tamil is a TV station and online platform. I just wonder what the payment to them is for, just because obviously normally if journalists are coming, we don't pay them for their pleasure.
That payment is mainly for the cameramen and other technical support people, and it's not to the journalists. They do it free.
Right, if I may though, Chair, sorry. Is it cameramen for the Tamil Heritage Group for their own promotional use, or is this funding in effect the cameraman for the TV station? Because if it's for the latter, I'm a bit uncomfortable with that.
It is both together, and they provide us with the video they take and also photographs, and we pay the cameraman to do that, and also they broadcast live for other people around the country who couldn't come to the event.
Does anyone have any more questions for the applicant? No? Okay. Well, thank you very much. Would you like to take your seat and we're going to debate it now? That's the right order, isn't it? Yes?
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank
Lovely
you,
to see you.
councillors. Thank you.
Okay, so yes, can members indicate if they wish to ask, well, if they want to debate, we'll say something on the debate now for this application. Councillor Giles, anyone else? No? Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair. Members of the committee will know that on principle, as much as I support the work of the Tamil Heritage Group and indeed was the proposer of the motion that declared January as Tamil Heritage Month in Kingston, that I don't support repeat applications coming to this committee. It's against the grants guidelines, and I worry that with such a limited pot available every year, only £20,000, we're always oversubscribed, that it puts me in a very tricky spot, because this isn't meant to be a regular top-up for regular operational activities, which this has become. So I'd like to propose an amendment, Chair, and that being that we award £1,000 to the Tamil Heritage Group, because I'd be quite happy to chip in £100, which is more or less proportional, if every councillor were to do the same from my own ward funding to this event, because I fully support the event taking place, but simply on a matter of principle, I don't support it coming out of this pot of money. I am proposing that, Chair.
And I'll second that.
Okay. So we're going to take that to a vote?
Sorry, Chair. Is it clear to everyone what the proposal is?
Yeah, the proposal is we offer 1,000, not 1,100.
Of councillor grant funding?
£1,000
Of ward councillor funding.
£1,000 from the Neighbourhood community grant,
Yep.
because £100 I will put in from my ward funding for this event.
You could make it 1,200, but if we keep it to 1,100. So the proposal is we reduce it down to 1,000. And I'm not interested in your council award funding. We're talking about the community grants. So
Yeah, that's fine,
the
Chair.
proposal is that we offer £1,000 instead of £1,100 from the Neighbourhood Community Grants Scheme. So I'm going to take that to a vote.
That's fine. That's fine, Chair. But on a point of order, that's fine. But I would like to, if there's no other speakers, I'd like to sum up, thank you, in saying...
Oh, actually, sorry, Councillor Charles, I think Councillor Bolton would like to say
Oh, good.
something.
Well, I'm glad we're having a debate and going straight to a
okay.
vote.
All right.
Yeah, sorry, Councillor Giles. Yeah, it's just occurred. I don't actually understand. If you're opposed to the group getting money anyway, what difference does it make? 1,100 or 1,000? It doesn't. It doesn't seem logical to me. But I think I've possibly misunderstood you.
Well, I was going to say a moment ago, in what would have been my closing remarks, if indeed other councillors with ward funding left also chipped in £100, then we wouldn't need to have this go through the Neighbourhood Community Grant at all. I'll be chipping in £100 from my ward funding towards this, and so therefore, as I've done before on previous applications, may I add, if other councillors wish to do the same, I know we did this for Christmas lights, then obviously that reduces the amount and yet further reduces the strain on the limited resources we have for these community grants. But on a matter of principle, I support the event going ahead, but I don't support the continued use of this pot of money for repeat applications.
Councillor Messamy, Councillor Park and then Councillor Messamy.
Just I wanted to ask the Councillor Giles, and I think even last one of application I suggested as well, because they need to kind of secure some like annual events funding, but I think some of the events because we have a community fund, and some of the event will be repeat every years, and if they don't have a kind of their own like subsidizing their own like events, then do you have any idea how they can kind of carry, because it's one of the biggest events for the Tamil community. So if they don't have financially, they are able to deliver this kind of events. What kind of possibility you can suggest to them to can get the grant?
Well, if I may, through you, Chair. Thank you very much. I mean, my own suggestion would be, as I have, councillors who have ward funding chip in from that. But furthermore, as I've proposed in previous years at full council, if we were to take the 3% and a bit pay rise that's given to councillors and to withhold that for just a year, that would generate around £8,000, which we could use to create a new community fund specifically for events. That was our alternative budget proposal in 2023 at full council, and indeed it will form part of our alternative budget proposal again this February, because I agree with you, we do need a community grant pot for irregular events. Unfortunately, the policy on this particular pot of money says that we shouldn't encourage repeat applications, which makes it really tricky. And that's why I'm suggesting, in lieu of there being a pot, giving £100 from my fund, and I'd encourage other councillors to do the same. I hope that helps.
Councillor Messamy.
Thank you, Chair. It's a tricky one. I love the event. I understand the challenge of raising funds for this type of annual event, but I'm also stick to the rules. If I read the context, and we've done the same for previous application, first time, okay, the second time, hopefully the third time, then it becomes challenging with the repeat of those application requests. I have unfortunately no pot left, or no money left in my pot, sorry. And therefore will not be able to top up the with £100 or more. So I'm really between a rock and a hard place, because in principle, I understand exactly where some of my colleagues are going. In reality, I really want to support this striving community and that yearly event. So I'm in a difficult seat.
Just for all councillors to know that we are undersubscribed at the moment. But Councillor Durrant, you want to say something?
Yeah, thank you. Unfortunately, I also have no available councillor pot left, unfortunately, so I won't be able to contribute in that way. I do support this proposal. Just for everybody's benefit, I wonder if Ralph might be able to tell us how much is left in the community grants fund, and presumably it has to be spent by April, in which case there isn't that many more opportunities for us to bring, there's one more opportunity for people to bring forward grant applications.
Thank you, Chair. Currently, we have £16,000 left in the pot. One of the applications was made in error. That's since withdrawn, and I think that if we paid them all out fully, we'd be balancing the books.
Did you want to come back, Councillor Durrant?
Yeah, thank you for that, Ralph. I mean, it does suggest that there is enough money in the pot. Thanks.
Councillor Tracy, then Councillor Giles.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, I mean, it is a really nice event. I've been to it and, you know, it's wonderful. But I think the rules are there that people don't keep coming back, and this will be the fourth time. So I would give £100 willingly out of my grants. I'd like to say that now. But I just think if it's the same people coming back for the grants all the time, it doesn't give other people a chance. So I just think that the rules do state that they shouldn't keep coming back, and I think we do have to abide by what we're guided on. But I will give £100 of my ward funding, please. Thank you.
Councillor Giles.
Thanks. I just want to touch on Councillor Durrant's point, because on the 22nd of October, the Let's Talk portal actually closed applications for more community groups to submit bids to the Neighbourhood Community Grants Fund. And I did ask Ralph at the time why that had been closed off. And the reason for that was that as of the 22nd of October, there were already grant applications totalling £23,000. And so for at least the last 2 months, worthy community groups who may have been looking for a source of funding haven't even been able to apply because the fund was already oversubscribed at October. He did say if obviously any of the applications didn't go through in full, or there was anything remaining, that then that would be reopened. But, you know, I appreciate what you're saying around the time of year we're at now, but given that we'd got £23,000 in the space of just 6 months, and it had to be closed off because of demand, I'm quite sure if that were to be opened, even if for a very short window, that there would be plenty more people coming through the door, as it were. Unless there's any further comments, Chair, just in closing, I think in light of Councillor Tracy's comments, the proposal would be for £900 as opposed to £1,000.
And so you're proposing that and you're seconding it, yes? Okay, so we're going to go to the vote. So the proposal is that we only give £900 out of the Neighbourhood Community grant. So those in favour of that, put your hands up, please. In favour of reducing it down to £900. Those in favour of reducing it down to £900, yes? Are you in favour of it?
No, I'll be abstaining, Chair.
Oh, I see.
So you're abstaining on your own motion. That's fair enough.
I am indeed.
Okay. So those against? Okay.
Yeah.
Have you got the numbers?
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And Leslie.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah. I revered Leslie. Okay. And those abstaining? Okay. So now we're back to the original grant. So So I'm going to now go to a vote, and I'm going to propose the allocation of £1,100, £1,100 to Kingston Tamil Heritage Group be approved. Councillor Durham, would you second me on that, please?
I'd be delighted to second you. Thank you.
Already had a seconder at the start, I believe.
Oh, okay, sorry. No, I don't think I did. Anyway,
sorry,
anyway,
no.
it doesn't matter to do it twice. Okay, so those in favour of £1,100 going to our wonderful Tamil Heritage Group, hands up, please. Those in favour. Okay.
Hands up, please, sorry. Mike, come on, put your mind up.
Yep.
And Lucy.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, brilliant. Those against? Okay.
Yep.
And no abstentions. Thank you very much. Nice to see you both, and you're very, very welcome to stay, or you can go home. Lovely to see you anyway. Thank you very much for coming along. Okay, now the next one, to consider application for a neighbourhood community grant of $3,000 from Kingston Giving as set out in paragraphs 11 to 17 of the report. I'm going to ask our wonderful Ralph to take us through it, please. Thank you. And is the applicant here? No. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chair. Kingston Giving are applying for £3,000, as you stated, to support their Catalyst Grants programme. Unfortunately for me, we have Justin and Lucy are here to explain it in full detail. Thank you.
Right. Okay. All righty. Off you go. Nice to see you. Right, when you're ready. Okay. No.
Us this evening. Right. Hello. Yes, I wanted to talk to you about our Catalyst grant. You very kindly supported our Clark Fund, which was grants for individuals that you gave us last year. I submitted the report for the 30th of November, so I don't know if you've managed to all have a little read of that, but it was hugely successful. We supported over 53 families in New Malden, and some of those were the most in need in your area. And based on that model, it's participatory grant making. So that means that we have people from our local community. They are paid by the hour at the London living wage. So they get a minimum of £20 an hour for the 2 hours, and they make all the decisions on the applications that come in. We anonymise them, and then we hand them over to them. The applications are made through 57 of our charity partners within the whole of the borough, who are best placed to know those people who are most in need and who would benefit from the grant. So the Catalyst grants, they are different from the Clark Fund. That was for immediate response to people most in need, so they were in the form of shopping vouchers. Whereas the Catalyst grant, we want to go a little bit further and support people who, through whatever their circumstances, they might not be able to give themselves a bit of personal development which would help with their mental health, opportunities that they wouldn't be able to afford. So, for example, it might be towards somebody who wanted a bike to be able to get to work a bit easier, somebody who wanted to do cooking course so that they could feed their family better and make food go further. So they're opportunities, really. The grants would be from £100 to £300, depending on what they wanted to do. Our charity partners would be in charge of the money, so money wouldn't go straight to the people. They would book, say, the adult education class, they would buy the bike, and then hand it over to the person who was benefiting from the grant. We hope to do about from 9 to 18 grants, depending on the applications. Our Clark Fund ran for 5 rounds, and we were massively oversubscribed, even in throughout the borough and New Malden especially. So we know that the need's there, and if you think it's a worthy cause, we'd be very grateful for the opportunity to have the money to do this. We have got 3 other grants from the other neighbourhoods, so it would be nice to have it borough-wide.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Does anyone have any questions for the applicants? So, Councillor Massamy, Durrant, Heap, Giles. Right, okay. Councillor Massamy.
Thank you, Chair. Good evening. Since it's anonymized and you do not know, or the jury do not know who might be receiving the grant, how can you try to spread fairly the grant allocation based on neighborhood? So to resume, how can we ensure that not 100% of the grants will go to residents of New Malden or Old Malden? And is there a mechanism where you can split prior to sharing the grant applications to ensure that there is a fair spread of the potential for those grants to be across all neighbourhood? Does it make sense?
No, well, the way we do it, so the £3,000 will only go towards those living in New Malden and Old Malden. So when I get all the applications in, they're all divided by neighbourhoods. The only information that we require from the applicant is their postcode. So we don't want to hold any of their personal data, but we must have their postcode. And from that postcode, we know which neighbourhood they fall into. So if we had, for example, the last round of Clark Fund that we did, we got more applications from New Malden and limited funds. And once all that money had gone, it had gone. Whereas we still had money available in Kingston, North Kingston and south of the borough. So the number of grants that we can put through are based on how much money we have.
Thank you. No, I understand that, but within the neighbourhoods, we have wards. And for example, some of my colleagues might be in a specific type of ward. Is there a way to distribute this more fairly, or it's something that at the moment is by neighbourhood and it's a bit of a first come, first served?
It's literally by the charities that we support. So, for example, London Kim's dance group, I don't know if you've heard of her, she's amazing, and she does dance classes for people within New Malden, and those people can live anywhere within New and Old Malden because they come to her, and she is the one who basically knows whether people are struggling or not. So she would know if somebody could benefit from a grant like this. Where they actually live within the wards is not something that we've really sort of come across, because generally if it's a community cafe, people come from all over and they're supported there. I think the only one that, and that's in Kingston and North Kingston, there's a higher demand for the grants around the Cambridge Road estate and places like that. And that's the only time that I've seen a very specific area for grant allocation, but certainly not in New Malden, Surbiton or south of the borough. It seems to be quite widespread.
I've picked up Councillor Park and Councillor Bolton, but I'm going in order. Councillor Durrant next, please.
Thank you very much, Chair. In principle, I think it's a great idea, and obviously I've supported the organisation personally with my grant funds before. I do have a little question with regard on point 17 of your application, which is regards to the administration costs. It may only be £300, but that is 10% of the total amount. Now, if you take that in comparison with the household support fund, which in Kingston is 1.5 million, the total administration cost for that is £15,000. So it's obviously significantly, relatively quite a large fund, but it's much more efficient in the way it's done. So why don't we just put the £3,000 into that pot so it's more efficient?
Well, because of the participatory grant making, so we pay people for their time to make decisions. So instead of when I first joined Kingston Charitable Foundation, our trustees made the decisions on the grants that came in, and we adopted the participatory grant model. So we actually got local people within the community, just with lived experience of all sorts of things, either working volunteers or young students. We've got a whole mixture of different people. We value their time, and we want to pay them the £30 each, and we have a panel from either 3 to 5 people, and that amount is spread across the whole of the grants that we would be awarding. At the end of the last grant round, we hadn't spent all of the money because we had some conflict of interest with some of the participatory grant makers. There was from the charities that we were actually supporting. So we had a little bit of money left over, and that went back into the grants. So no money is wasted, but we just think it's a fair model to pay people for their time, and I think it's quite beneficial. We've had some really positive feedback from the decision makers, I'm going to call them, that's what we do call them, and it has actually made a huge impact on their lives. Some people have used it on their CVs, it has given them confidence, they've felt part of the community to be able to make decisions, especially when you read some of the applications. They really are quite heartrending that people are struggling so much in our shared community, and they take their role very seriously, and we are very pleased to support them in that, whether it's from our own funds or applying for funds. But I think it is quite an important part of the whole process. I hope that answers.
Okay. Councillor Heap.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, coming back on Councillor Durrant's point, really, I'm not sure about your structure, but presumably you've got a CEO. Is that you?
No, that's his.
You've got a head person.
Yeah.
And are they paid?
They are paid.
So,
but we are all paid. So I'm paid, but that comes from.
Where does that money come from then?
That comes from an application we made to City Bridge Trust Foundation now, I think. So we're actually all paid up until May next year. And
to cover the salaries?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So my question.
Yeah.
Is why can't those people make the decisions rather than paying out another £30 to other people? I know it spreads it a bit, but you, as Councillor Durrant said, you could save some money there. Why don't you and the CEO and somebody else just make the decisions about who's going to get the grants? Thank you.
Because, well, that's how it used to be. Well, it used to be trustees that made the decisions. I think that having people in our community, and they can be anybody can come forward and apply to be a participatory grant maker. Not anybody can be a CEO of a charity. And my job that I do and your job, we want to employ anybody to do this. It's just spreading the decision making through out the local community and giving opportunities to people who may not otherwise have the opportunity to be on such a panel to make a decision.
So how do you choose that? Where do those people, how do you choose who's going to be? Because if you've already got a panel of trustees, they're trusted with the charity or whatever.
They
so
are.
Why can't they do the work? That's my question.
The reason why we have moved away from that is because some of our trustees, through the very nature of them being trustees and their position in their companies or whatever, are a little bit detached from what's going on in the community. And I think if you get normal people from everyday life making decisions about where funding should go, I think that's a really good thing.
Councillor Giles.
Thank you, Chair. I have comments, but I'll save those for the next part of the meeting. My question is just if you could explain how this application this year differs from the application last year. I understand that it's a different scheme that you're applying for this year, but just in reality how it differs.
The last year, it was specifically targeting families that have been selected from our charity partners as those most in need. So I can read out some of the applications which might give you a bit of an idea. Excuse my reading, I'm dyslexic, so this is like a nightmare. So the case studies and testimonial. So £200 was given to this single mother with 3 children. This is a lone parent family of a mum and 3 daughters. Mum experiences mental health difficulties and is unable to work, and family are dependent on benefits and struggling financially. They have no family support locally and fled domestic abuse several years ago. Mum is getting very anxious about how she is going to afford school uniform for 2 eldest daughters who are at secondary school. Some of the items she needs are very expensive, e.g. PE socks costing around £18. Help in the form of supermarket vouchers will alleviate hardship by enabling mum to spend money on items needed for school instead of food. And they go on. So you sort of see that, so they were applying for supermarket vouchers where you can buy an awful lot of things, rather than relying on community fridges and food banks where you're very limited. I'm sure you're very limited as what you can get there. You can get some nice croissants from Marks and Spencer's and some bananas, but you can't generally get meat and things like that. The supermarket vouchers give back a bit of dignity to people. They can choose what they want to buy, which I think is really important. The Catalyst grant is for giving opportunity to, say, this mother who might, instead of catching a bus, she can't afford a car, would want a bicycle. And that grant would be the catalyst to change, in a small way, her life. It might be a small thing, but it could have a huge benefit for her, meaning that she could become independent, she could get out and be more healthy, and it could change her life. Or it could be an adult education evening course that she wants to do, sewing or cooking, or it's a catalyst for change. So it's giving people an opportunity to do something different to make their lives better. Because I think if you're lucky enough to have enough money to pursue your joys and your hobbies, we do take it for granted that some people don't have that. So I think it's quite an important, it's a very different thing because it's going that step further. So it's a progression.
Thank you. And Chair, just one quick question, if I may, for our neighbourhood manager, because we quite often get applications that include an element of admin or overheads. In his experience, Chair, would he be able to shed some light on what the maximum sort of tolerable percentage is, if indeed there is one?
Chair, I think I can simply answer that by saying I'm not aware of any maximum percentage within the grants themselves.
Thanks.
I think it might be an opportune moment to say we are actually reviewing the grants programme itself, because there's lots of issues that have been raised tonight that have been raised within the council, so that's where we're at.
Thank you. It's just because I'm aware that obviously Brightbox, the admin fee that we granted in full was £395, which obviously is a third higher than what's being sought here tonight from Kingston Giving. Thank you, Chair.
Councillor Park.
Just I have a question about, I very much support this project. It's a wonderful idea to supporting people to get more, have opportunity to able to go to classroom and learning new skills, learning things. But my question is, if they kind of one-off given this kind of grant, then afterward, like how you're going to to monitor or support them their continuous journey. For example, you given some example of one scenario, the one of a family mom is suffering. I'm mental health nurse. One of a mother is suffering with the mental health problems, and children the family is struggling. But it doesn't. For me, from my perspective, just one of money is not helping. This kind of activity and supporting in the community, if people are able to access more, it will be more beneficial for them. But if we give this kind of grant, then what is your long-term plan for this family? It's just one-off give money and you have opportunity, then you off now in good way. It doesn't. For me, it doesn't happen like in that way. So I wanted to hear from you what your charity's plan with the collaboration work with NHS or some like a charity Save the World. They have a cooking class and food is accessible and food bank. And also another thing is how you're going to support as a long term to be able to sustainable that money was well spent. That's my question.
Yeah.
I don't know whether I make sense.
No, you did make perfect sense. So Kingston Giving, we've just finished a grants programme, and that was £500 to local organisations in the run-up to Christmas to do events. So we've given over, I think it was 15 grants to local charity groups, including a community fridge. We're supporting RBKs. We've given money to Save the World Club to do cooking classes. So we do invest, our grants programs does invest in the charity community, and we rely on the charity community to continue their support of the people that they are referring to us to get a grant for a Catalyst grant. So they're not just people don't apply to us directly. They have to come through one of our charity organisations. So they may already be, well, they would have to be within that sort of charitable sort of support group and the hug, that they're already being supported. And this is something extra that they might specifically need to continue on their journey. But it's not just a one-off and then see you later. These are just small things to increase people's outlook on life, really, to help them on their journey to get better. So it's not just going to the community fridge the same time. We want to try and give them a catalyst for change, to try something new, to do something different. If you just can keep supporting what we're doing already and not trying to look for a different approach, things aren't going to change. So we're trying to support them with change, to give them the opportunities that they wouldn't otherwise have. I hope that explains it.
Councillor Bolton.
Thanks, Chair, and thank you both very much for coming. I think you've done a great job of explaining everything about the I certainly know and am much wiser than I was at the start of the meeting, so thank you for coming. In fact, my main questions were about point 16 there, the decision makers, the pool of participatory grant makers. I can't even say it, but I think you, to be honest, you've covered enough about that. I know that it's your view that that is the right way forward. It didn't used to be the way you do things, but you've found that it is a good way to do it. Yeah. Not only helps in the dispersing of the money, but it actually is of benefit to the people making the decisions. I think that's a good sort of double-headed benefit of the way you're doing things. I also completely understand the misgivings that some of my colleagues may have expressed on that particular point, but I'm minded to accept your professional advice that you actually think that is the best way. I think it's a little bit curious, actually, but it's not up to me to decide that. I think that you've clearly given it a lot of thought. You think that that's the best way to do it. and I'm very much minded. In fact, I will be supporting the application. So thank you very much for explaining it so clearly and so fully.
Thank you.
Councillor Durrant.
Thank you, Chair. Just I did mean to sort of come back on a supplementary before with regards to the household support fund. Obviously, the total grant size we've got here is about is 20,000 for the entire year, whereas the household support grant, the CSE grants, is £400,000 for Kingston in this year. So I wondered if that you might want to consider applying for that as well, as part, and if you need assistance finding it on the website, I'm happy to do that as well. Because it does seem to fit the description of the work that you do, and that is obviously a much more substantial pot that you could go for, rather than having to go through all the neighbourhood meetings for 2,000 here, 3,000 there, etc.
Thank you.
Councillor Messamy.
Thank you, Chair. Like the previous application, that will be the second time you're coming slightly differently with a different offer. I also recall that for the Harvest Tamil Heritage, that will be, at least for me for the last few years, the second time only, not the fourth or fifth. So, but it's clear that I will not support this for a third time. I think we also have to look at the wording of the grant. I understand that we might need to review this. Once is fine, twice is okay, 3 times, then, like my colleagues say, there's probably another source of funding. We cannot just subsidize year after year. But what I really would like to see for future applications, or anyone else that do watch the recording, when I support or my colleagues support an application and the same group, maybe with slightly different offering, comes back, I expect to see a report on the outcome, the benefit, and the learning of the exercise that has been used or done or utilized with the previous funding.
I submitted it on the 30th of November.
No, I'm not saying you haven't, but what I mean is I just want to make sure that previous investment have been very successful or there's learning, and then whenever somebody comes back for the second time, I'm always happy to support twice, but we're going to have at some stage to review when we stop. And for me, the third time is third too many, so hopefully that will work for you this year. Yeah. But and hopefully next year you will be self-sufficient or find a way to have a much better financing model, if I may call it this way.
Yeah.
Okay, so are there any more questions? Councillor Thorpe.
It's a comment more than a question. So the guidance that we have on these grants says if it's you can't apply for the grant if it's a repeat application. However, we will consider repeat applications where the organisation can demonstrate that its activities deliver significant community benefit and can provide evidence of efforts to fundraise and or apply for grants from elsewhere. And I think you have explained to us the community benefits, so I'm comfortable with that. And I know, because I know a bit about the charity, that you do get fundraising from elsewhere, so I'm very happy to support this.
Thank you. Are there any more questions for the applicant? No? Okay. Thank you very much. If you'd like to go and take your seat. Now we're going to have a bit of a debate. Right. Please can members indicate if they wish to speak or ask questions or make comments around this. Have we got anyone? Councillor Heap. Anyone else? No? Councillor Heap.
Thank you. Yes, thank you, Chair. Yeah, I understand that the work you're doing is very valuable, but I can't get away from the fact that in the interim time, the time you come back repeatedly, you should be raising your own funds, okay, somehow, and that it's a charity with other charities, and I have a bit of a problem with that. You're either a charity, but why you've got all these other charities underneath you like a big umbrella, I can't get my head around that, I'm afraid. No, but I have heard, but that's my impression that I get. And it's my comment about that, okay? And that goes for a lot of organisations that come forward for community grants. No names mentioned. Thank you.
Councillor Durrant.
Thank you, Chair. I think actually I have been persuaded for this year, so thank you very much for your presentation. I would like to see this potentially being the last year, and I would like to see you looking at other sources of revenue, and like, for example, the one I've just mentioned, the Household Support Fund, which has a pot of £400,000. Maybe that would be something you might want to consider for next year. Thank you.
Councillor Durrant and then Councillor Giles. Anyone else? No? Okay, you might think of something. Councillor Bolton. Did I say Councillor Bolton and then Councillor Giles?
You promoted me by referring to me as Councillor Durrant. And I'm great. Yes, we are. That's right. It's wonderful. I don't want to sound at all flip or anything like that, but when somebody comes out on an evening like this and sits there and fields questions for 20 minutes or however long it was, and one of the things they say to us is essentially they're helping somebody with mental health problems buy socks. Or something like that, I find it very hard to vote against people coming to us for what, after all, is a relatively modest amount of money. And as we've previously heard, we do actually have enough in the pot. So just to reiterate that I certainly will be supporting it tonight. Thanks.
Councillor Giles.
Thanks, Chair. I mean, look, this is now called Kingston Giving. It was the Kingston Charitable Foundation, and it was, once upon a time, Love Kingston, back when I used to be one of the community ambassadors of it. Just this winter, through a cursory glance of their website, they've already raised £9,500 from the public. Some of that actually coming through match funding, £4,000 of it being match funded. And so, you know, I think it's fair to say that there are fundraising efforts taking place, and indeed in the past I know they've also come to individual councillors asking if we're able to support with ward funding. So, you know, I know that Kingston Giving do good work. I agree, I think, with Councillor Bolton. I'm not necessarily as sold on the participatory element of the grant making, but I bow to your knowledge that that's the way you want to do it, and I wish you success in seeing how it goes. So personally, I will be supporting this application this evening, but as Councillor Massimi has said, I wouldn't support a third application coming forward, and I believe that's the principle I've applied with every application I've considered this term.
Does anyone else have any comments to make? No? So I'm going to propose the allocation of £3,000 to Kingston Giving be approved. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Durrant. Oh, no. Okay, thank you. Right, we're going to go to a vote. Sounds like we have to go to a vote. So all those in favour, can you please raise your hand? Okay. Yep. And it's Christmas.
Oh, shush.
Sorry. Yep. Those against? Okay. Those abstaining? Okay. Thank you very much. All righty, last one.
Principles too,
Yes, yep, you've got your principles. Right, we're going to consider the application for a neighbourhood community grant of £3,000 from Oxygen, set out in paragraphs 18 to 23 of the report. Thank you very much. Lovely to see you. Thank you. I'm going to ask Ralph again to take us through. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Oxygen have applied for £3,000 to continue the support of their mentoring programme. Unfortunately for me, we've got John and Brian here to fully expand on the programme. Thank you.
Okay, so could Mr. Oxygen come forward, please? And oh. Oh, okay. When you're ready, off you go.
Thank you, Chair, for enabling us to talk to the application. Brian, have you got your papers? Just because I haven't got I've got it on my phone, but thank you. Many of you will know that Oxygen was started by young people from the local community back in, it first became a charity in 2001, but I was the youth worker for Old Malden and New Malden, running the Vanna Youth Centre and responsible for key things in the community in New Malden. One of the proudest ones is converting the old toilets at the top of the high street into a youth project, which is now the Environment Centre. So my connection to the community goes back a long, long way. And the heart that we have for those young people and that value of young people being involved at the start and being at the centre of the decisions that we make is something that extends through to today. The challenge we face is that young people's needs, mental health needs, are becoming more and more significant and challenging in terms of meeting them. It used to be, certainly pre-COVID, it used to be that we would get referrals of young people through just the general projects that we would run in the community, like the Room 1 after school club at Coombe Boys. And we would get referrals, and there'd be young people who are struggling in school, needing a bit of help to get through some challenging times, perhaps home circumstances. Occasionally we'd have one that was not attending, but that was sort of not the norm. Since COVID, things have changed quite significantly, and thankfully we had some funding from Young Londoners Fund. So one point to make there is Oxygen is keen to try and find other funding and has been successful in doing that over previous years, and that generated sort of 50,000 a year for 3 years. And that enabled us to meet that need throughout COVID and the subsequent years when the demand just rocketed. And we now have referrals because of that process coming through to us, on average about 100 referrals a year, and they're not young people who are just struggling a little bit. A lot of them are young people in crisis. We get referrals from social services, from CAMS, and from local schools. And in the main, they are of young people who are not engaging in education and who are struggling, I would say, typified by the comment, by falling through the net. So we feel like we're an organisation that has got young people's at the heart of what we do, and we feel like we're catching young people. Often they've been through other services. I think there's an advantage to being a charity, and sometimes we can get into a bit like certain beers. We can get to places that others can't reach. But you know, I think we have a different approach sometimes as well. We go in very much because of our heritage, really. We want to know what the young person thinks, and we start with a question, you know, how do you see the problems that you're facing and the world ahead? You know, what are your aspirations for the future? And we try very much to sort of start our intervention and way of working from taking into account their perspective first. So we generally don't come in and go, oh, you've got a problem with attendance, or you've got a problem with this issue and, you know, anger management. We try and find what makes them tick. What is it that switches them on, that makes that little glint in their eye, their little eye sparkle? And we've got numerous stories of that being successful, and the engagement that we have with young people when they do engage with us, we find that we get some very positive outcomes. Obviously, we can't work with 100 young people every year. There's a fall-off of those who actually are in the right place, who are ready. Some don't want to work with an organisation. Some want to just keep doing what they're doing and don't want to change. We can only work with those who want to engage with us. But I'm confident that the way we work is actually been honed over a number of years of understanding the community. I myself left to go and work in Surrey as part of the Youth Offending Service back in 2000, and I've worked as a deputy head of a pupil referral unit. So I've worked with young people in Feltham as well, and trained prison officers. So we have a good range of knowledge and expertise about the process and about the systems around young people, particularly those who struggle, who fall through the net. So yeah, I've got many stories of young people coming into the shop, which obviously I can't believe I've talked this long without mentioning the shop. Many of you will know, and I've been pleased to see you donate stuff, so thank you for that. And I think the shop for New Malden is a particular jewel, really. We are blown away by the impact that place has. We've got young people coming in there who are really struggling with life to the extent that they're coming there as their only other place of safety other than home. And that puts a significant demand on the team and the volunteers in the shop. But we train people in mental health first aid. We've got youth workers who are working in the shop as well, who are able to do mentoring through there. If you want to find me on a Friday, then the chances are I'll be in the shop. And I've got young people who come in regularly to come and help me upcycle guitars, run the shop, run the till, process donations, get them up on Vinted. So actually, it's not just a way of engaging young people in dealing with their problems. It enables them to put something back, and that's a key thing, I think. When they come in the shop, they are able to talk about the contribution they're making. They might have all these challenges and issues and problems that they face, but actually we can change the narrative. So rather than somebody talking about coming and getting counselling or help to deal with an issue, they can come and talk about restoring guitars and making a contribution to the world. We've even got a lad at the moment helping us to restore bikes, going into full cycle alongside a mentor that we've put in place. So we're also able to work in partnership with other charities locally. I'm happy to take questions, and I'm sure you've got questions you want to answer.
Thank you. Who's got a question? Councillor Bold.
I just say something first.
Okay.
I'm a little bit. I'm not quite sure how to proceed. I hadn't realised that Mr. Brian Austin was actually part of the application. I happen to know him personally very well indeed. I thought he was perhaps here as an observer or something, but I just want to make that clear. Will that stop me from voting on the item?
That's your decision to make.
Well, in my decision then, I think I had better withdraw for this item. Apologies, gentlemen, I hadn't realised.
But you can make a comment
Before you withdraw.
before you withdraw, and then you just hold your hands.
Well, if I can make a comment, I would have to say that I 100% support it. I think it's an absolutely superb organisation, and thank you for coming to explain about it. It's just wonderful. But my position is that I just can't vote on it. That's right.
Councillor Hebers just said, Brian, you haven't said anything, and you raised your hand, but you don't have to say anything. That may... Don't say anything, Brian.
All right.
No, don't say anything.
Don't say anything, Brian.
Just explain who I am.
So I can just explain Brian's role, if that's any help.
Okay.
Brian is a trustee of the charity.
So, Councillor Giles, anyone else with questions? No. With the applicant? Okay, Councillor Giles, off you go.
Thank you, Chair. I mean, look, first of all, just to put on the record, that when I was at Coombe Boys School, I attended the Room 1 for one academic year. It was a great place to go after school. And indeed, in principle, obviously, fully support the work Oxygen do. And indeed, it's our charity of the month in Green Lane and St James Ward next month, January 2026. Having said that, I've got some questions on the costings, if I may, because I'm aware that obviously it is a mentoring project, which by its nature will involve predominantly costs for the mentors. But I'm just a tad confused by the percentages allocated next to some of the roles here. So it's a full cost recovery, presumably, for these roles, but you've got CEO 40%, Deputy CEO 25%, targeted project worker 80%, and then targeted project worker 60%. Now, obviously, those percentages don't add up to 100% in and of themselves. So I just wondered if you might be able to break down that cost for me just a little bit further, because while obviously I fully, understand the need to fund project workers, given its mentoring, I'm a tad confused about the request for funding for the CEO and Deputy CEO.
Yes, I too am slightly confused by the percentages because they don't add up there to 100%. I think the clarity that's needed is to just confirm that actually, for me, I spend all day Friday in New Malden at the shop as the CEO, and I probably mentor 4 young people throughout a month's period who are in crisis, and that's partly because their needs are quite significant, and we have a range of volunteers, mentors. We have staff who have been with us for 10 plus years, and any of us will work with young people in that setting. So we have sort of factored that in. It isn't necessarily a reflection on the proportion of time spent with each young person, because, as you know, each young person comes with their own needs, and we have the certain capacity and expertise to meet some of those needs. There are some young people who, come along and volunteer in the shop who need a bit of extra support, particularly around exams. We've had young people who've been really struggling, and it'll be one of the people we've trained up in the shop who can mentor them on a weekly basis when they come to do their DV shift, but actually they're getting mentoring as well. So that split is, whilst it's confusing, most of our funding goes on staff and supporting volunteers, and I looked the other day, we've had over 500 applicants since we opened the shop, of people wanting to come and volunteer there. Now that obviously takes time to process those, and they need training. Everyone is trained in level 1 safeguarding. Anyone who's working for Oxygen in a paid capacity has level 2 safeguarding training. I have level 3. So for some of the young people we're working with, we do need that level of oversight on a case-by-case basis, where the needs are complex and it requires that we work with other organisations. So, for instance, I can think of at least 4 young people we're working with at the moment in New Malden who are on a child in need plan, and we have to work with other agencies, the schools as well. So the costs for us are very much around the staffing, and some of that for me, given that the shop is in New Malden, a lot of my time, a fifth of my time is spent actually in New Malden in the shop, mentoring young people. So.
And a supplementary, if I may, Chair, thank you, that was useful. So are there then these are the 4 mentors, are they, in effect? That if we were to award this grant, is it that there are 4 mentors, being yourself, Charles, and 2 project workers?
Those are the paid workers. We have... And they might be mentoring them through the shop. They might be mentoring them through school. We've got people who go into Coombe before the after-school club, and we'll mentor young people in there. And we've got young people coming in who are at other schools in the borough who are coming in specifically to get mentoring through the shop because it gives them a safe place. But I wouldn't want to underplay the role that volunteer mentors have, and I think the lad I spoke about going into a cycle project, he's got a volunteer mentor who's very committed, comes in every week, and we want to get the right person in front of that young person. We can't say that this is 4 people doing the mentoring. We've got a team of people, and it might well be that it's a volunteer who comes to do something in the shop who's actually the best person to mentor a young person with specific needs. And what I love about the shop as well is it's intergenerational. So for someone who's missing that connection with an aunt or a nan or a gran, we've often got people in the shop as volunteers who are able to fulfil that need.
Thank you, Chair.
So are there, Councillor Messamy, are there any other questions after Councillor Messamy? Councillor Kim, and then we'll probably go to a chat. Okay, Councillor Messamy.
Thank you, Chair. May I ask via yourself to Ralph, how many times have we had application from Oxygen? I can only remember once before, but I might be wrong.
Chair, I can only remember, this would be, to my knowledge, the 2nd application through me.
Councillor Kim.
Thank you, Chair.
Yes.
I think the young generation is our future, and you're doing a great job for the community. I like to support your project, but I have one question. Probably you have to work according to the regulation and also the equal opportunity. And I wonder, how do you promote your team and activity according to the diversity, inclusion, and inclusiveness?
We try very hard to find people who are from diverse backgrounds. We've got a wealth of different, and this is why stressing the volunteer team and their role in being able to support young people. We have got volunteers in the shop who have diverse backgrounds. We've got a trustee from a diverse background as well. We often get asked the question about that, and it's really difficult at times to recruit the right people from other communities, from other backgrounds, and that's a challenge that we face here as well. Having said that, a lot of the young people we work with are, so for instance, in the after-school club, a lot of them are non-white, and we are very keen to sort of try and support them. And in fact, as a faith-based charity, we try, we don't restrict who we work with. It's very much about anyone who needs help and support. We want to give that. And we often have conversations with people of other faiths around, you know, them wanting to come to us. And that often is an advantage to them, that we're able to offer a level of engagement with some young people if they want that, around that element. So we try and reflect that in the work we do, but we're always looking for people from other diverse communities to come along and help us mentor young people, because we do have young people from minorities who we really do want to support, and sometimes we're not the right people for that, and we recognise that limitation, but it's not for want of trying to recruit and train people up in that way. And we do have people who can meet that need. So.
Are there any more questions?
Can I just make a point about the repeat applications?
Okay.
What we often try to do, and we're proud of, is being able to generate funding from outside the borough. And I don't know when the last application was. I don't think it's certainly not within the last couple of years. And I don't know what the criteria would be to be considered a repeat application. But I think, you know, just want to make the point that we do regularly try and get other funding, and the reason for coming here at this point is because things are so hard and it's very difficult since COVID, and particularly around young people and mental health. The challenge out there in terms of securing funds, you know, Charlie and I can spend hours and hours each week putting in applications, but at the end of the day, this is the community that we're serving, and you know, we would only come here if we absolutely needed to.
So I'm going to say thank you. Do you want to take your seats? And then we're going to, I'm going to ask members if they wish to make a comment. Councillor Durrant, anyone else?
Can I just ask Councillor Bolton to leave the room?
He can't make comments.
No, he's already made his comments in there.
Oh, are you, Councillor Bolton, are you absolutely convinced you're conflicted and you're... Because Brian didn't say anything.
I mean, I'm happy to vote if you think that it's all right, but
it's a state of mind.
A state of mind. Well, my state of mind is generally quite good, I think. But
excellent.
You'll be pleased to hear, but I think it's probably better that I don't vote.
Okay,
because,
well then,
as I say,
have to leave the room.
I'll leave the room.
Alice has imposed that rule.
Thanks.
It's all about rules tonight. Right, Councillor Durrant, Councillor Park, thank you.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, John. And obviously, this is a fantastic organisation, does very good work for young people. I think particularly, like, if we think about some of the news that's coming around at the moment about young people, particularly not in education or employment at the moment, lots of pressures coming in from all sorts of areas. The unhelpful narrative, I think, possibly coming from a certain Wes Streeting about neurodiversity, which I don't agree with, and a lot of other things. And so this is a really positive thing, and I think we really need to encourage this as well. So I'll be supporting it. Thank you.
Councillor Park.
Yeah, also I wanted to mention I absolutely support this project, what you're doing with the young people, and to keep stay them to healthy and carry their life as a normal. So it's a wonderful project I love to support. Thank you.
Yeah. Any other comments? Or are we feeling up for a vote?
Yeah.
Okay. So, I propose the allocation of £3,000 to King... Oh, wrong one. Wrong. Sorry. I propose the allocation of £3,000 to Oxygen be approved. Councillor Thorpe, who was giggling. Can I have a... Okay, thank you.
Very happy to second.
Okay, so all those in favour, are we unanimous or we want to vote? Okay, everyone. Okay, we're unanimous. Fantastic. Thank you very much. Lovely to see you, and really nice that you popped along and gave a full explanation. Really appreciate it.
Encouragement as well. It really means a lot to hear that. Those positive
Yep. Okay. Thank you. Right now, Ralph, given the time, have you got anything to say? Any neighbourhoods report?
Unfortunately, following an unsuccessful recruitment campaign, we are currently have only one operational ranger.
Oh dear.
For the whole of the borough.
Oh my goodness.
It's my intention to put out another advert in January, possibly for 1-2 rangers. But as I say, due to voluntary redundancy and sickness, we are currently operating at 1 ranger.
I beg your pardon. Okay, so I don't have any urgent items. So there being no further urgent items this evening, I close the meeting at 9:29. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair.